Vinícius Jr. to Arsenal. 4 words that broke football Twitter in under an hour, and the one man nobody thought to ask was José Mourinho. While the internet was sketching Arsenal's new front three, Mourinho got cornered outside training by a microphone and a question with nowhere to hide. He didn't storm off, he didn't dodge it. He looked dead into the camera and said something that stopped the entire story cold. What did he actually mean? Before continuing, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos, and tell us in the comments which city you're watching from. To understand why one answer carries this much weight, you have to understand exactly who's involved. Vinícius Jr. isn't just another attacker chasing a bigger paycheck. He's the man who turned Bernabéu nights into personal highlight reels. He's the player every defense spends a full week preparing for and still can't stop, the name on more shirts in Madrid than anyone else in the building. And now, in the middle of a contract standoff nobody expected to reach this point, his name is sitting next to Arsenal's in the same breath. Arsenal, freshly crowned and starving for more, are hunting the one signature that turns a talented squad into a team the rest of the league fears. Mourinho, a manager who has spent 2 decades weaponizing silence just as much as words, was suddenly forced to answer in public. When a figure like this addresses a storm head-on instead of deflecting it, that's never just noise. That's a signal that something underneath is real. Rewind a few days, and the cracks were already showing for anyone paying close attention. It started as a quiet murmur, sources close to the camp hinting that patience in Madrid was running out. Then came the whisper that a release clause conversation had secretly been opened, something considered unthinkable a month earlier. A well-connected transfer insider dropped the line that broke the internet next. Informal contact had been made. London exploded. Almost instantly, a second voice pushed back hard, insisting the players' camp was frustrated with the noise, not with the club itself. 2 completely different stories, aimed in 2 completely opposite directions. One side swore the move was inevitable, the other swore it was invented from nothing. Sitting silent in the middle of it all was the only man who knew the truth. Fans picked sides overnight and dug in like it was already decided. Some pointed to years of loyalty and a trophy cabinet built partly on his back as proof he'd never walk out mid-project. Others pointed straight at the stalled numbers on the table and said loyalty only stretches as far as the offer does. Podcasts burned whole episodes debating a transfer that still had 0 confirmation behind it. Betting markets shifted overnight. Shirt sales spiked in 2 cities at once. Every piece was scattered across a different timeline, and nobody could agree how they connected. That silence was about to break wide open. Then the noise stopped being noise and became a roar. It wasn't just Arsenal circling anymore. Reports claimed agents from clubs in Saudi Arabia had made contact. Whispers surfaced that a second Premier League rival was discreetly preparing a counter-approach of its own. In a matter of days, the question flipped entirely. It wasn't will Arsenal get this done, it became who else is already in the room and how fast can they move. The pressure didn't just build, it compounded. Arsenal had already watched one marquee target slip away this window over a fee they refused to match, and their fan base was done accepting excuses. Every question aimed at the manager was met with the same rehearsed, airtight non-answer. Behind closed doors, talk swirled about image rights complications and a wage structure that had never bent this far for anyone in the club's history. Every hour without an answer cranked the temperature up another notch. Directly into that fire walked Mourinho, camera flashes waiting, the whole footballing world holding its breath at once. Here's exactly what he said. Speaking the moment training wrapped, Mourinho didn't confirm a bid, didn't deny a conversation, and didn't say a word about London. He talked about a schedule. He ran through who was expected in Tuesday's session, naming his attacking options one by one, flat and matter-of-fact, as if nothing outside that training ground existed at all. Not one syllable hinting at a farewell. A manager calmly planning his week like his best player wasn't the center of a continental headline storm. One detail almost everyone glossed over changes everything here. While the internet insisted the deal was moving through paperwork, the one person who actually decides who plays and who doesn't was sending a very different signal. Quietly, he made clear his winger was still very much part of the plan. That one scheduling line says more than 100 anonymous sources combined. But it doesn't kill the story. It sharpens it into something far more dangerous. because now there's a genuine standoff, and every party wants something different. Madrid wants their biggest asset locked down long-term without shattering their own financial rulebook to do it. Vinícius wants to feel like the club is fighting to keep him, not assuming he'll stay out of habit. Arsenal want the one name that turns their trophy case into a dynasty and look ready to break their own policy to get it. Their representatives sit right in the middle, holding leverage that only grows heavier with every week the clock keeps ticking. There are two competing versions of this situation right now, and both have credible people close to it backing them. One insists a move is being engineered behind the scenes without a whisper leaking out. The other insists loyalty wins out in the end, full stop. When the Portuguese calmly pencils a player into next week's session in front of a room full of cameras, that's not a scheduling update. That's a message. To the player, to every rival circling overhead, and to a boardroom deciding how far it's willing to go. Where does this realistically go from here? Path 1. This settles quietly. Mourinho's calm holds, Vinícius reports back, and a renewal gets hammered out before the pressure peaks. The outcome Madrid clearly wants and is banking on. Path 2. The standoff drags on with nothing resolved, the speculation resets next window, and the door stays wide open for Arsenal or anyone patient enough to wait it out. Path 3. A stunning late move detonates and forces every party's hand right now. Weigh what's confirmed, and that third path is the least supported of the three. Mourinho's tone points towards stability, not separation. But contract situations like this have a habit of collapsing fast and quiet, and one unmet demand behind closed doors could flip this whole outcome overnight. Let's slow down and separate fact from assumption, because this week the two got dangerously blurred. What's confirmed is short and undramatic. Vinícius remains under contract, training continued as scheduled, and Mourinho publicly listed him among players preparing for the next fixture without a second of hesitation. That's the solid ground. Everything else is far softer than the headlines are willing to admit. Any agreed fee, any signed personal terms, any confirmed switch to Arsenal, none of it has been officially announced by either club. No statement exists anywhere. The loudest claims are coming from accounts that openly admit they could be wrong within the hour. Anyone telling you this is already done isn't reporting a fact. They're selling you a story. Put it all together and the picture right now is simple. Vinícius keeps training under Mourinho, the speculation keeps circling without ever landing, and his long-term future stays open. Not settled, not sold, just unresolved. Nothing is decided. That unresolved tension is what makes this impossible to look away from, because the one thing that could rewrite this entire saga overnight is a signature that still doesn't exist. Ask yourself the question that actually decides how this ends. Do you believe Mourinho's calm means this stays exactly where it is? Or is an operator famous for controlling every headline simply buying time while the clock keeps running down in the background? Tell me where you stand in the comments. Staying put or heading to London? I read every single reply, and the best takes might show up in the next video. If this breakdown gave you something the headlines didn't, smash that like button and hit subscribe with notifications on. Because when this story breaks for real, you'll want to hear it here first.